Hey everybody, it's six-time Olympic gold medalist Amy Van Dyke, and I hope you guys are doing amazing. So I got a friend and his name is Rob, and he wants to let me and all of you know that September is National Recovery Month. So he's actually going to be swimming 1 mile a day in the month of September in Littleton, Colorado. Yay, Colorado, it's where I grew up. He's going to raise awareness for recovery from addiction. His sober date is June 8th of 2001. Now, his senior year, he had to decide either to quit swimming or to quit drinking, and he chose to quit swimming. But as you just heard, he is sober. So he is now on a mission to restore hope, identity, and purpose to the addicted. Too many people, as we all know, we hear it all the time, are dying from substance abuse. So we want to spread some awareness. He wants to spread awareness for his swim recovery page. Because remember, 1 mile every day in September, that's a lot. So go to www.swimforrecovery.com. He's raising awareness. And also you can donate to him, and it's a completely tax-deductible donation to help support his ministry programs. Something that I think is just amazing. He had to decide between swimming and drinking in high school, and now Rob says that swimming is his mental health therapy. How cool is that? So please go check it out, www.swimforrecovery.com. Help Rob out with everything that he wants to do, and do a good thing, because it is awesome. All right, you guys, be well, be kind to yourself and others. Go to that website, donate some money, do it now.
All right, that was a lot of fun. I always love showing that video from Amy Van Dyken. So, Amy, thanks for the support on that. Really, really appreciate it. And just hope you're having an awesome day today, everybody. So far, we are at 198 laps. Now, some people, again, I'll say get confused on laps and lengths, okay? It's just, I went down and back 198 times so far, and it's pretty awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into Brian's story because I got to head out and get to my daughter's soccer game. But I said I'd post a story every day. So here's your story today. We're going to show from Brian Laney. Brian, thanks a bunch, buddy, for sharing your story. You're a friend of mine, and I love your recovery journey. So here you go. Enjoy. All right, it's time for another interview on, not interview, recovery story on swimforrecovery.com. My friend Brian Laney. It's been really cool seeing what God's done in his life through recovery, but there's a whole story he's going to tell you about how he got there. So, hey, Brian, welcome, man.
Hey, brother, thanks, man. I appreciate you having me for sure.
Yeah, what's that sign say behind you on the wall?
Let us adore him. My new wife painted it a while back, and we got a bunch of different things like that on the wall in our place.
And say that first part again. You're what?
My new wife, man. I got married a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that is awesome. Congratulations. And your honeymoon looked like it was a lot of fun too. So
yeah, absolutely. And Shannon, just so you know, Shannon asked me to say hello to you. So
oh, cool. She gonna pop in around the corner and say hi while you're talking there?
No, I told her that she's in the office working right now. All so right. I told her that we're getting on this call, so we should have some privacy.
All right, there you go. Very cool. Good stuff. So you are in recovery, but what do you consider your sobriety date?
Last time I used was July 26th, 2014. So I guess 27th, if you want to say that, it would be my sobriety date. The first day that I was sober-ish. I was still kind of coming off of what I was on. So a little over 8 years ago.
Yeah, I guess sober can be a loosely used term, right? When the substances were out, that could take a little while, but cool. So it's been a little while. And what did you enjoy using, drinking, shooting? What did you do?
At first, I enjoyed methamphetamines. I would say for the last 12 of the 13 years, I didn't enjoy it all that much. But it was my drug of choice.
Okay. Yeah, that initial, oh, this stuff's great. It sucks. I can't get out from underneath it. So we're going to talk about how you got out from it as well. But what city and state are you sitting in right now?
I am in Lakewood, Colorado, right outside Denver.
All right. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
So I know you and your wife have ministry. You help tons of people now. But obviously you had to get there somehow. So tell us about the beginning and that initial high to I just couldn't stop for a while.
So man, where did it even start? That's hard. So right out of high school, I moved to Chicagoland area, and by this time I was already pretty much addicted to drugs. Didn't really have a drug of choice at the time, but just whatever there was, I would do it, and whoever there was to do it with, that's who I was hanging out with. And then, like I said, moved to Chicago. And from there, got hooked up with a group of people that kind of did some work traveling around the country. Everywhere we went, we partied really, really hard. Got into the club scene, things like that, and found methamphetamines, ecstasy, those kinds of drugs. And it just kind of followed me around. Ended up moving to, and I had little stints of trying to get off it and not do it, and other things like that. But for about the last 4 or 5 years of my addiction, I was an IV meth user, and that was in Lubbock, Texas. And yeah, made my way all over the place, all the way to Lubbock, Texas. But that's where I was when it kind of came to a head, and my family ran in to do something. My uncle actually came in to do something. So.
Amen for the uncle, or those people, right? Those little angels that kind of come along the way. But what was the transition like for you from using to IV using? What was that like psychologically for you?
It was something that I'd always said, nah, I'm not going to do that. Hanging around enough people though who were doing it, watching it happen, seeing, wow, that's a whole nother level of high right there. Curiosity got the cat, man, and I did it, and I was just, that was all she wrote. I went from, oh, I'll never be a tweaker to like, I'm a tweaker.
Yeah, sounds like a title of a book right there.
Yeah.
And it's, you heard that phrase in recovery too, right? You hang around the barbershop long enough, you're about to get a haircut.
That's right.
And that was your experience right there. Something you never do, and then you're in it, and then you were just in it until your uncle showed up. So what happened there?
Well, my uncle, he's actually, so rewind the story about 24 years, and he knows this, but he was the first person he's the first person I did meth with. He's the first person I did hard drugs with. We're relatively close in age. He's like 8 or 9 years older than me. So, he was, that's just what it was. And so when it came time, and everybody knew that I was basically about to die, they called him and said, hey, you got him into this mess. You need to do something to get him out of it. And he did. He flew from Aspen all the way down to Texas. He lives in Glenwood now. And Thomas.
That's your uncle?
That is Thomas Dubois. Thomas Dubois, yes.
Shut up! I just interviewed him yesterday. He's part of the story. I had no clue about that. Whoa!
Yeah. Now it all makes sense. Oh my gosh!
Mind blowing. That's
okay.
Oh my gosh!
Right.
I hold on. I got to absorb that for a second, because that's like, he's such a great guy.
Yes.
And knowing his story and knowing your story, never knew that was the guy. That I'm gonna see him next Wednesday when I go. Man, that's a trip. So
it's a trip, isn't it? Yeah. So anyway, so he and he's been sober for what, 13, 14 years more than me, longer than me. And so he was in recovery. My family, everybody kind of conspired. He came down to Texas. He flew down there, put me in a truck, drove me to this place that I ended up at here in Colorado, because he's been friends with the founder of a place called Step 7 Ministries, which is where he brought me to. He dropped me off there, and that's kind of where my recovery story begins.
Holy cow. That's what you just hear things, and I'm still like in shock from that. So I'm not gonna let that distract me from your story, but that's just really cool, man.
Didn't realize that, man.
Yeah, that's powerful stuff right there. And you never know who's out there. So encouragement to those family members that that are praying and just loving on people to keep doing that. So okay, so you end up in Colorado. You got this journey now with this kind of ministry thing that you stepped into, and were you kind of like all aligned in with what they stood for, or were you just kind of like, this is where I'm going to end up?
No, I wasn't actually. So it's a faith-based program, faith-based as in Christian, right? And it focuses on Jesus kind of being the answer to everything. And sobriety just being a bonus to that, right? And so finding a right relationship with God through Jesus Christ is kind of the motto. And I was not at all about that. I was a meth user, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was the furthest thing from Jesus you could possibly get. And it was crazy because for years, I had been running from this faith that I grew up in the Catholic Church, and my family brought me to church. I was confirmed, all the different sacraments, all the different things. And I ran from it at a certain point, I think I was kind of running from God, and that's why my addiction got so crazy. I was not aligned with it. No, my uncle, he asked me a very simple question on our drive from Texas to Colorado. He asked me, he said, "Hey, can you consider that Jesus Christ is real and that he can do something to help you out of this situation?" And that stuck with me, it really did. Got to the ministry, and the guys who were there, they were not in the mess that I just came from. And they were claiming that reading scripture, going through, biblical principles, getting to know Jesus, the accountability and the truth and the freedom that comes along with that was helping them in their sobriety and helping them maintain sobriety. And like, not only that, but build lives outside of drugs and alcohol, after drugs and alcohol. And I was like, okay, well, here's where I am. Now, let me also say there was a series of divinely orchestrated events that I could not explain that led me to this point. So as I'm trying to make sense of everything, I'm also trying to figure out, like, what did that mean a month ago when this person said this thing, and like now that I'm here and that situation, and everything was just lining up perfectly, and I couldn't explain it. It was so far beyond coincidental. I didn't know what to do. And so at some point I can continue to try to explain God away, or I can just be like, all right, if you're real, help me, and that's what I did. I also started reading the Bible, and very quickly, I was no longer the one reading it and narrating it to myself, but there was this, and I don't know how to really explain this better than this, but there was a new yet very, very, very familiar voice that began to narrate the Bible to me. Things started popping off the page. It all started making sense to not only my life, but everything I witness on a day-to-day basis, everything that I go like, why is this way? And why is that way? It just made everything make sense. And I began to experience this peace, this joy, this freedom that had eluded me for so long, and not only that, but, for somebody who had perfected hate, I began to feel love for the first time in a really long time, you know what I'm saying? And so, I was hooked, man. Jesus is dope, and he's the answer to everything, bro.
Wow. So you were getting these little like hope and joy nuggets along the way that kind of were like food crumbs leading you to the answer in a sense.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Wow. That's a powerful statement too, that Jesus is the answer. So why do you think so many people are resistant to maybe the Jesus part of recovery? I'm just going to say that because it's all about God and things like that. But why do you think people are so resistant to the word Jesus?
That's pretty good question. A few things. One, if this story is in fact true, right? Well, actually, let me back up. One, I think a lot of times ignorance. Unfortunately, we've got media, we've got even Jesus movies and things like that. Don't really they glamorize it for Hollywood, right? Media, different things like that. We live in a day and age today, right, where it's we're kind of getting back to this place where Christianity is persecuted. It's looked at like primitive, even, like that kind of a belief system isn't progressive enough for this world we live in today, where everybody wants to have their own truth. And the simple fact of the matter is truth comes from the origin of all things, right? That's where truth is found, at the origin. And so there's an absolute truth. There is an absolute truth out there, and because there's an origin to everything, and unfortunately, everybody wants to have their own truth, and so it doesn't line up with our thinking. And then there's this thing of like resurrection from the dead. That's a hard one to wrap your head around, right? And so because we can't rationalize that because we can't like fathom it. I think it's a hard thing to get over. People can believe that there was a dude named Jesus who died on a cross. He was a really good guy. He taught really good things and things like that. But the whole raising and resurrection from the dead thing, I think, is a little tough for some people. You know, we like to be in control and have things figured out, and you know, unfortunately, it's a tough one. You know.
Yeah. Well, even as a Christian myself, a lot of the Bible it's hard to comprehend it, right? And it's like, man, this is mind blowing. But we won't get on a biblical sermon here. So, but so they were like in the pits of hell. Uncle saves you, brings you to a place. You start seeing these nuggets along the way, and now that you're married, right? So, what do you do now, like on a daily basis, to make sure you don't go back to the guy before Uncle Thomas saved you?
That's pretty good. You know, I'm a big believer in the whole recovering to methodology. I don't like the recovering from thing. I don't want my life to be based on not doing drugs and alcohol anymore.
Amen.
That is a pretty miserable existence, you know, existing in like my purpose to be not doing something. I want my purpose to have passionate pursuit of something, right? So what am I recovering to? Well, you know, I've got a new wife. This is the biggest responsibility I've ever had in my entire life. You know, you've met her. She's an incredible woman, and you know, she's a lot to. It's a big responsibility to steward her well. That's a full-time job. I've also got this relationship with God, which is first and foremost in my life. It comes before even my wife, anything that I'm doing professionally or anything like that. And that in itself, right, is enough to maintain my sobriety. Because again, Jesus is the answer to everything. He is my dope, right? Because he is dope. You know, the slang term, dope, awesome, great, powerful, all those things. And he fills every void, every chasm within me that I would use to drugs and alcohol to fill. He already fills that. You know what I'm saying? And so it really is a matter of I asked him to take it away, and he did. And I continue that pursuit, that relationship of Christ, and that's the continual, you know, fountain of everything that I need on a continual basis. And so, and then of course, you know, we just started this new ministry to help disciple people, to help bring people along this walk with Jesus and go deeper and figure out some of these real truths and practice spiritual disciplines and all that kind of stuff. And so that's another full-time job right now, and just having the you know, like basically I'm built a lifestyle. Me and God have co-created this lifestyle where drugs and alcohol, they just aren't an option. They're just not an option.
Yeah, that's a great combination there of those two, right? So so kudos to you, man, for just turning your life around and just stepping into where God's calling you to go, and you're helping people grow deep roots instead of shallow roots, you know, shallow roots in the rock, right? So so that's cool, man. So we're recovering too. That's amazing, and I'm just glad you shared your story on you know, swimforrecovery.com, and just one of the stories and testimonies of recovery. And keep up the good work, man, and just great to know you.
Hey, brother, you are an awesome guy. Keep up the good work yourself, my man.
Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.
God bless, bro. Bye.
All right, there we are. Awesome, Brian. Thanks for sharing your story with us. And hopefully, y'all will share these episodes with people on your pages as well, because only so many people can see this when I post this out. So encouraging people to share these stories of hope, inspiration, and purpose with people, because recovery stories are so powerful. So go check out swimforrecovery.com. You can learn all about the campaign, what we're doing, why we're doing it. Why am I swimming a mile a day? So far I swum 198 laps in the pool, lengths in the pool. I'm just going to say lengths. I don't know why it gets me. People keep asking, like, well, isn't a lap down and back? Hey, a lap is a lap. Okay, down, that's one lap for somebody, right? So 198 of those already swum. We've raised over $1,800 already for the campaign. So excited for that. If you have a story you want to share, go ahead and check out the details of this original post. And there's information there on how you can share your story. But please, I encourage you, share the story with people that are on your pages. So repost this, anything you can on Facebook, and would love that. So I'm going to go catch my daughter's soccer game. So I got to head out. But as I said, I'll swim a mile a day and post a story a day around 9:30. We got that done. It's accomplished. So enjoy the rest of your day. And don't forget, text swimforrecovery.com to your friends, because not everybody's on Facebook. So I'd love for you to just maybe text it out to 10 people today and say, hey, go check out this Swim for Recovery campaign. And if you know anyone in the news stations or journalists, send that out to them too, because the story behind this is pretty special, which I'll talk more about tomorrow and through the weekend. So, also, if you're interested, go grab yourself a copy, because this weekend, Labor Day weekend only, my new book, the Addiction Intervention book, is half off this weekend just to celebrate Labor Day. So go check that out. Order a couple copies because it's half off, and give one to maybe a family that you know is struggling with a loved one with addiction. And just here to be a resource for people. God bless. Thanks for coming to swimforrecovery.com, and we'll see you tomorrow around 9:30 a.m. Bye-bye.